This is CBC Nova Scotia News.
The search for Jack and Lily. Newly released court documents show RCMP investigators don't believe the case is criminal. A veteran firefighter's own home catches fire, how he saved his home and his dog. And watching Waltis, we get an inside look at one of the traditional games representing Migma culture.
As Aaron continues to track to our south, conditions will improve tonight, but the tropics are heating up. We'll have a tropical update for you tonight. Plus, we'll talk about another round of strong wind on Sunday and what that could mean for our fire risk.
New court documents are shedding light on the search for two missing children from Pictou County. 6-year-old Lily Sullivan and her 4-year-old brother Jack disappeared from their home in Lansdowne Station on the morning of May 2nd. Our Angela McIver has the latest.
Daniel Martel has known since the day Jack and Lily disappeared that he was a suspect. He's been their stepfather for more than 2 years, living together in this trailer. Martel says that's why he has fully cooperated with police.
Everything from my phone, doing a polygraph exam, and just ask them to do, here you go, search everything. Just do everything you can for the kids, right?
Freshly unsealed court documents detail how RCMP combed through bank records, phone data, and GPS locations. Investigators wanted to know the exact whereabouts of Martel and the children's mother, Malaya Brooks Murray, in the days leading up to the children's disappearance, and cross-reference that information with the statements they gave to police. The documents reveal that as of July 16th, investigators did not believe the case was criminal. By that point, 6 polygraph tests had been done, including on both Brooks Murray and Martel. They were also done on Martel's mother, on Brooks Murray's mother and her partner, and on the children's biological father. Brooks Murray was given a polygraph in what police describe as an effort to eliminate her as a suspect in causing her children's disappearance and possible murder. She passed, and so did Martel.
They've done a full background check, as much as they could possibly do, and I mean, I'm pretty thankful for them to spend the time and spend the resources to try to figure out everything.
An extensive search on Martel's property and the surrounding 8.5 square kilometers has turned up only a few clues. One was a boot print matching Lily's size 11 feet. Another was a pink blanket hanging from a tree found by family members of the children's mother. A piece of blanket was also seized from a garbage bin at the end of the family's driveway. Martel says it was the same blanket, but it had been ripped apart and thrown out.
I mean, it's mysterious as it is, because the distance from the garbage bin to where the blanket was found is almost 1 kilometer.
RCMP have previously said Lily's blanket was sent for forensic analysis. To date, police have received 740 tips and more than 9,300 videos, and say a tremendous amount of careful, deliberate, investigative work is ongoing to locate Lily and Jack. Angela McIver, CBC News, Halifax.
The only girl involved in the attack on Ahmad Al-Marak in a parkade at the Halifax shopping centre must spend at least a few more weeks in jail. She was arrested last month and charged with breaching her conditions of house arrest. The girl pleaded guilty to manslaughter in the attack, which included 3 other teens. She was sentenced to 27 months, with 3 of those months in custody and the remaining 2 years under house arrest. But in court this morning, the girl admitted she contacted her boyfriend, the teen who actually stabbed Al-Marak to death. That was a breach of her release conditions. She'll remain in custody until she returns to court next month. The Long Lake wildfire has grown slightly to 3,212 hectares and is still considered out of control. But crews are concerned about shifting winds thanks to Hurricane Erin. As winds pick up tonight and over the weekend, some resources may need to be pulled. No homes have been damaged from this fire. Jay Scotland joins us now for a first look at the weather and the fire crews, as we heard, concerned about the winds.
Yeah, on Sunday, it'll be a different direction, too. More of a south to southwesterly wind that could be as gusty. Inland areas could be even more gusty than what we saw today from Erin. Erin also producing some pretty strong winds for coastal areas today. The storm located about 500 kilometers south of Sable Island. Tropical storm force winds do extend about 700 kilometers from the storm's center, which is why we're having that strong wind and those extra wave energy making its way onshore for the Atlantic coast. But that track still well to our south. The storm becoming post-tropical this evening as well, and conditions will begin to improve tonight into Saturday. That being said, we are keeping an eye on two other areas of potential development. An important reminder that we are approaching the peak of our hurricane season. And as for tomorrow, the winds will be calmer. The sky will still be sunny. No rain in the forecast ahead of another round of strong south to southwesterly winds on Sunday. Amy.
All right. Thanks for that, Jay. A veteran firefighter jumped into action this week when his own home in Windsor caught fire. It happened on Tuesday, and Mark Richard says it started with a glass watering bulb. But Richard, who struggles with PTSD, was able to save his family home and his dog. He spoke with the CBC's Brian McKay.
That's it, man. Right here. So that was under this, like this. Sun is directly pointing on the bulb. Caught the fabric on fire. This stuff is flammable, man. So this is where it all started. We were on our break from work, and all of a sudden, my friend Dave was sitting here, Mitchell, my son, was there, and we heard Charlie, our dog, our poodle, barking like crazy, which is very uncharacteristic. Look outside, I could see smoke in the distance. You know, automatically thinking it's smoke from a wildfire, or definitely not on our own home. And I go out the door, and our whole side of the house is on fire. I go, holy, I'm running, man. So then Mitchell sprays me down, and I go in and get Charlie. This is smoke in here at the time. They couldn't see hardly anything. I just know this house like the back of my hand. I got him out, and then grab that hose, man, and firefighter, go. So this became the lifeline. This little garden hose put that big fire out. That and this saved us. Yeah, man, I'm never getting rid of this thing. So Mitchell and my friend Dave get a ladder, and we start riffing, soffit down. Because if you don't get that soffit down, you're not gonna be able to shoot the water up into the eaves. We were so lucky. So fortunate to have the water right there. So fortunate to have Charlie bark. If it wasn't for this dog, we wouldn't have got it. So he's our hero. He's the man. It happened so fast. All because of this thing. If you see glass laying around, pick it up. Because every glass could become a magnifying glass. You know, it was a textbook of getting there fast. Can't even believe it's happened. Can't believe it happened to me. It's always someone else that I'm going to help. I come from a firefighting family. Both my fathers were professional firefighters in Dartmouth. Yesterday, they were here, both of them, my dad and my other dad. And I wear this in respect for both of them. When I talk about them, it makes me reflect about my current situation about having PTSD and how I thought that I was a washed up firefighter and I wasn't able to do this anymore. But yesterday, it reminded me that I really never lost my firefighting abilities. They're always there. I just needed time to refocus and get myself back together. And that's what I've done. And I proved it to myself and my family that I can react in it the way I always did. Put the fire out, save people, and be a firefighter through and through. Till the day I die, I will be a firefighter.
Members of the Dalhousie Faculty Association, who were locked out earlier this week, have voted strongly to reject the university's latest offer. Faculty members gathered to picket outside of the Killam Library on Friday. The union said that 82.7% of voters rejected the contract offer from the university's Board of Governors. It offered 2% increases in salary for each of the next 3 years. The university has said that Dalhousie is facing financial challenges and its compensation is in the mid-range when compared to other large Canadian universities. But the union argues that wage increases have not kept pace with inflation in the last decade. And some say that's especially hard for early career professors who are on the low end of the salary range.
But if I were to summarize some of the concerns that I've heard, there are folks who feel that they are really struggling. They live very paycheck to paycheck because their wages really are not keeping up with the cost of living. And I think, as I'm sure many Nova Scotians are experiencing right now, we've had such a dramatic increase in the cost of living in our province that often wages that were previously low, but the cost of living was cheap, really have not kept up with this radical change.
There are less than 2 weeks before the school's fall term is scheduled to begin. 3 new tugboats have arrived in Port Hawkesbury to support Everwind's green energy plans. The price tag is around $50 million. But as the CBC's Kyle Moore reports, there are some delays surrounding the company's 2 major projects.
3 new tugboats were on display in Port Hawkesbury on Thursday. Everwind's new fleet will support green energy plans proposed by the company.
We need to build a climate competitive Canada, and we need clean fuels like hydrogen and projects like Everwind to help us do it.
Construction on a new green hydrogen plant in Point Tupper has not started yet and could still be another year away.
I think we'll be starting construction on the plant next year, but it's contingent on finalisation of, some laws and regs. But no, it's, we're prepared. We're ready to go.
Back in 2022, Everwind said it hoped to be up and running by this year. Trent Vichy says the holdup with Point Tupper is getting approvals from European lawmakers.
We can't build a project without the laws, the regs, and in place. And so, some of that stuff takes time when you're working between municipalities, provinces, Canada, and European countries. Europe is finalising their laws at the country level for the product right now.
Everwind also hopes to build up to 404 turbines in Guysborough County. Vichy says they are still waiting for 1 or 2 pieces to fall into place on that project, but should be ready to go next year. The feds have invested more than $22 million. Local First Nations have also been included as partners. Chief Terry Paul of Member 2 says he's not concerned about the timeline.
We want to make sure that the environment is not affected at all on this. This is our position all the time, that we want to make sure that the environment is looked after.
The tugs have already made an impact locally, creating 15 jobs for people in the area. Kyle Moore, CBC News, Port Hawkesbury.
The Nova Scotia Migma Summer Games are taking place in Wamakuk. That's where Migma bands across the province gather together to celebrate sports and culture. And Iraq gives us an inside look at one of the traditional games.
The Elder Center in Wamakuk is packed, and everyone is here for one reason: to play the traditional game of Waltus in the Nova Scotia Migma Summer Games.
Because it's part of us, it's our heritage, and we pass it on to our kids. It's just, it's part of us.
Waltus is a game of chance. It is played with a shallow bowl, bone dice, and counting sticks. Players hit the bowl on the table to flip the dice. They wave their hand over the top of the dice to try and flip the dice over. The dice determine how many points they get, and if they get the point counting sticks. Elder Molly Piero has been playing for about 50 years, and in 2024, she was the world champion.
We love to play it. I do anyways. I love to play, and I like to win.
Younger generations are playing Waltus too. Piero says she loves to see the game span generations. So what is your favorite thing about Waltus?
Getting points and having a good time.
Dante Sylvester is the youngest Waltus player at the games. He's 6 years old, and he's been playing since he was a baby.
Sometimes it just makes me calm. Sometimes very happy.
Historically, European settlers did not understand the game of Waltus. They assumed it was a form of gambling, and it was forbidden. And the bowl itself, when filled with water, it can be used to predict the future. Settlers did not believe in that either.
They put a hole in the bottom of the plate, because they usually put water there, and they can tell the future from there. but they prevented us from doing that anymore.
But hundreds of years later, Waltus is still uniting Migma communities across Nova Scotia. Anna Rack, CBC News, Wagmatcook.
It's a lovely night out there. Jay is up next with the full weather forecast. We're back in just a few minutes.
This weather update is brought to you by Access Wellness Nova Scotia. Book your appointment today for free, confidential mental wellness support.
And Jay is back. Jay, it's looking like a really nice weekend with the exception of the fact we're not getting any rain, and we really do need it.
Yeah, that has really been the problem, is too many nice days. And when I say nice, usually we think of a nice day as sunny and warm and rain-free, but we do need the rainy days to make the nice days actually enjoyable. We have restrictions in place due to fire, and that wind on Sunday really will only exacerbate the problem. The elevated fire risk becomes extreme when you add a strong wind, and that wind also from a warmer wind direction. Now, it was quite blustery today, certainly for coastal areas. A lot of extra wave energy making its way onshore as well. With that increased risk of rip currents, you can see Erin in the process of that transition to post-tropical, still tracking well to our south, already seeing clear sky developing over the South Shore region, and we'll continue to see that sky clearing through the evening and overnight hours. You may hang on to a bit of cloud cover past midnight for a few hours into parts of Cape Breton, but that sky continuing to clear. And when I say a ridge of high pressure, anything relative to a hurricane is high pressure. So this will be very sunny conditions as we look ahead to your Saturday, and that wind will be really easing dramatically through the evening and overnight hours as well. So through the overnight hours, you see that sky continuing to clear from west to east. Still past midnight, some cloud cover, likely still some bigger waves moving on shore to more eastern areas. But as we move into the morning hours, everything does calm down. We see that ridge of high pressure building in from the west, and that is going to really keep that sky nice and clean. Just a few passing clouds is all we can expect through the day on your Saturday, although I'm happy to say, at least for Saturday, the wind not too blustery. As we work from Saturday into Sunday, we do see a bit more cloud cover developing into the morning. Still expecting a mainly sunny afternoon across the province, but you can see this approaching cold front here that'll be moving in from the west. This eventually could bring us some wet weather into early next week, but ahead of it, we see a fairly robust south to southwesterly wind setting up. The ridge of high pressure with that clockwise wind direction to our east, that approaching cold front with a southwest wind ahead of it. That is going to see temperatures on the rise. That is also going to see the wind speed on the rise as well, and it's a different wind direction. So the increase in the wind speed plus that shift from a north-northeast to a south to southwest wind, that does tend to make dealing with fires also more difficult, not just increasing that risk of wildfires. So please abide by the fire bans restrictions that are in place. Use extra caution if you're outdoors. You don't want to be doing anything with a flame with these dry conditions and that strong wind on Sunday. So through the overnight hours tonight, that sky will continue to clear. Now, for eastern areas, you may hold on to a bit more cloud cover past midnight, and you'll still be looking at likely some stronger winds for a few hours, maybe some bigger waves affecting coastal areas, but conditions will be improving overnight for you into Saturday morning. And then for Saturday, mainly sunny conditions across the province. Temperatures are generally above the seasonal average at a few degrees. It'll be a bit of a humidex tomorrow, not too bad. See more humidity in the way with that southwest wind on Sunday, but if it wasn't so dry, this would be a beautiful late summer forecast. Some of the days you would cherish, not the case, just considering that massive rainfall deficit we are seeing across the province. And today's strong wind followed by another round of strong winds on Sunday. Not good news for the fire situation. So at least the wind is calm in light of there being any, or in lieu of there being any rain for your Saturday. We will look for a mainly sunny sky again on Sunday, maybe a bit more in terms of morning cloud cover, some fog patches. But as that wind picks up, it will become very warm, very dry, and it will be quite windy. We'll be looking at sustained winds, potentially 30 for some areas, gusts 40 to over 60 kilometers per hour possible from the south to southwest. Now, Sunday night into Monday, we do see those clouds increase, a good chance for showers, even a few pockets of more moderate to heavier rain. Not a lot of consistency between the forecast models on amounts just yet, but we'll take what we can get on Monday. Could see those showers linger in the form of periods of rain and showers through early Tuesday before clearing, and that will be a cold front moving through, so at least temperatures dropping off into next week. But beyond Monday, Tuesday, another dry stretch of weather setting up as well. Also not welcome news, although I'll try to focus on the good here, and that is the potential for some raindrops. Hopefully a lot of raindrops as we get into early next week, Amy.
Yes, indeed. All right. Thanks, Jay. We're back after this. A BC Supreme Court judge has authorized the process that will ultimately lead to the sale of assets owned by the failed pulp mill in Pictou County. In a hearing on Thursday, Justice Shelley Fitzpatrick approved a $104 million baseline bid for Northern Pulp's assets by an Ontario company called Macer Forest Holdings. The assets include Nova Scotia timberlands, Crown land leases, and a tree nursery. If no other interested parties come forward by November 20th, the check will be cashed and the deal will go through. But if there are other bidders, there will be an auction and the $104 million becomes the starting price. Nova Scotia's sailing ambassador won't be sailing to American waters this summer. The Blue Nose 2's annual trip to Gloucester, Massachusetts for the Gloucester Schooner Festival is canceled. In a statement, the Lunenburg Marine Museum Society says uncertainties with cross-border travel and with more Canadians traveling within the country this year, their focus will be on the Nova Scotia busy tourism season. The Canada Games in Newfoundland are drawing to a close. They wrap up Sunday, and Team Nova Scotia has a lot to celebrate. We're joined now by Kathy Burton, Team Nova Scotia's chef de mission. So 49 medals in the first week of the Games, couple more this week so far. What's that feeling like?
It's been tremendous. The competition level is significant, I would say, is the word. Our athletes last week, Amy, just persevered through extremely hot temperatures, a little bit of smoke in the air from the local wildfires. They showed courageous battling efforts, and 49 medals in week one was tremendous for us.
Now, Team Nova Scotia's record is, what, 56 medals? Do you think you can maybe top it?
We're going for it. So we've won 2 this week, 2 in athletics, 1 in javelin, and 1 in the 3,000 women's steeplechase. And today will be another big day at the track this afternoon with competition. We had some great performances earlier in the week with our 4x100 men's semifinals and the 4x400 men's semifinals. So we're hopeful they'll bring that energy back to the track again as well. We have women's soccer playing for the top 4 spots, and a women's baseball team as well right now that we know of that would be playing for a medal over the next couple of days. So we're hopeful we'll grab a few more for sure.
Absolutely. So how do you feel the Games went overall?
The Canada Games here in St. John's, the city did not hold back. They were welcoming. The village was exceptional for the most part in terms of having activities for our athletes and our coaches and managers when they weren't competing. The venues were world class. We've seen some outstanding photos from the road cycling race, some beautiful sceneries at a lot of the venues. So in terms of the host crew here in St. John's, they did a great job. No complaints for sure. I'm also, we'll throw in that we're extremely proud of our athletes and coaches and managers off the playing field. Incredible ambassadors to the province of Nova Scotia. We've just been so proud of them every turn.
Now, are there any moments that really stood out for you from these Games?
Oh, golly, yeah, there's a lot of them. Last week, we kind of coined smoke on and in the water. We had tremendous success at sailing, 8 races, 8 medals. We had over 30 medals in canoe kayak, and one individual, actually, Eric Schwinnard, won 4 gold medals in a day. He went home with 5 medals. He had won a silver in another event. We had a cycler, Julia Snellgrove, who went home with 3 bronze medals. Our women's basketball team secured a 3rd place bronze medal, and kind of a sweet moment. We had our assistant chef and their mission staff member were on a team that won the last bronze medal 20 years ago in attendance. So it was kind of a neat full circle moment. So we're really proud of them. We also had success in the pool. We had some Special Olympic medals, and as well we had a couple of other medals in events that were well attended, and we are so proud of all of them for their hard work.
So what were the biggest lessons learned from these Games?
I think the biggest lessons we've learned here, and I speak for everybody, is the value of compassion and a kind word. We had a lot of volunteers here through the last couple of weeks who came regardless of the uncertainty of their homes or friends or families' homes because of the fires. And it was not uncommon to see athletes, coaches, and managers checking in with volunteers and asking how they're doing and if they needed anything. That was a massive piece for us. I would say we heard it everywhere. And I know that volunteers spoke with us, thanking us for the compassion that they shared. The other big lesson I think we learned is how strong a small province can be. We came out with full force, and I think I heard it several times. Why not us? Why not Nova Scotia? So, we're in 4th place in the total medal standings as of today. And of course, some big provinces ahead of us and a couple of big provinces below us. So I think that's a big thing. We can believe we can do it, even though we're a little smaller than a lot of the other spots in the country.
So the next games are the Winter Games in Quebec in 2027. Has that planning already started?
Yes, the planning's already started, Amy. We've had members from the host society from Quebec City here through the week, asking great questions, learning for themselves what worked and what didn't work from the St. John's host society. We've heard wonderful things about Quebec City being ready to host. It will be a fantastic spot to showcase our athletes in our winter sports.
All right, well, looking forward to that as well. Good luck in the next few days, and go Team Nova Scotia.
Thank you.
Well, there's a young wrestler from PEI who's made it to the medal round at the Canada Games in St. John's. She's Keely McGrath, and she's got a huge cheerleader. Her coach, a retired MMA fighter, who's also her dad. As the CBC's Elizabeth Chu tells us, Matt McGrath's current battle against cancer is showing Keely how to win.
After falling behind early in this wrestling bout, 15-year-old Keely McGrath, the PEI girl in green, hoists her Ontario opponent off her feet and slams her onto the mat. In her corner is her dad and coach, Matt.
He's 100% my role model. He's done so many great things, and I hope to one day be like him.
Matt shared his love of martial arts early with his children. He's a retired MMA fighter and a longtime Canada Games coach for PEI. But getting to the event this time wasn't a given.
I've been dealing with cancer for 2 years. Things are better now, but it's been a rough 2 years, and yeah, it's good.
His health battle has included 5 surgeries to his colon and liver, and multiple rounds of chemotherapy and radiation in the last 2 years. All the while, still coaching his daughter.
Like when I was at Nationals 2 years ago, I literally was holding on to the rail. And she looked at me and she said, "Are you good, Dad?" I'm like, "You go, I'll be there."
What was it that somebody said to you about your toughness?
Oh, my mother-in-law says I'm tougher than a boiled owl.
Matt is relying on lessons from his own coaches, grappling one move at a time to help him beat cancer now.
He used to say that focus on the first exchange, focus on 1 point at a time, and so just instead of thinking about like battling cancer, I just focus on what's next.
It's like a big thing, and it definitely makes you realize that you only live once.
His cancer fight is motivating Keely to be her best.
Who are you fighting for medal for?
My family, definitely. My mom, my dad. Yeah.
Keely's push to win a medal is on Saturday. Matt in her corner, as always.
How proud are you of her?
Very much.
Elizabeth Chu, CBC News, Mount Pearl.
Coming up, Prime Minister Mark Carney announces that Canada is dropping all retaliatory tariffs on U.S. goods that are covered by the CUSMA trade deal. And the United Nations has declared famine in Gaza, saying hundreds of thousands of people are experiencing catastrophic levels of hunger. Welcome back. Canada is changing tactics in its trade war with the United States. Prime Minister Mark Carney says that next month, Canada will remove all tariffs on goods from the United States that are covered by the CUSMA trade deal. He made the announcement following a phone call with U.S. President Donald Trump. As Olivia Stefanovich reports, the move is generating both praise and criticism.
A major strategy shift in the trade war with the U.S.
I'm announcing today that the Canadian government will now match the United States by removing all of Canada's tariffs on U.S. goods specifically covered under CUSMA.
The Prime Minister says 25% levies on American goods will be scrapped for those products that comply with the Canada-United States-Mexico agreement.
Part of this is getting to a better balance with the United States.
Mark Carney says U.S. President Donald Trump assured him in a phone call on Thursday the move will kickstart negotiations on a new trade deal between the two countries.
We are working on something. We want to be very good to Canada. I like Carney a lot. I think he's a good person.
Today we learned that it has been yet another capitulation and climb down by Mark Carney. His elbows have mysteriously gone missing.
The announcement may have scored favors with the White House, but Carney is facing heavy criticism from political opponents.
He promised he would have elbows up. He promised he could, quote, handle Trump, and that he would, quote, negotiate a win. Those are his promises, and he needs to be judged by his word.
Although most countermeasures will be lifted, Carney is making some exceptions. Tariffs will remain on U.S. steel, autos, and aluminum, industries hit hard by the president.
It is not necessary that Canada retains free trade with the United States. What is necessary is that it retains preferential access to the United States better than what everyone else has got.
Carney insists Canada has the best trade deal with the U.S. The Prime Minister says consultations on a new agreement will begin next month. Olivia Stefanovich, CBC News, Ottawa.
Famine has been declared in Gaza City and surrounding areas by a UN-backed agency that monitors global hunger. It says more than 500,000 people are facing catastrophic levels of hunger. The Integrated Food Security Phase Classification Report says the famine is the result of fighting, aid blockades, and widespread displacement. The CBC's Margaret Evans reports from Jerusalem.
It's actually extremely rare for the IPC to issue famine declarations. There have only been 4 over the past 25 years, or 4 others, I should say. 1 in Sudan, 2 in South Sudan, 1 in Somalia. Now we have one specific to Gaza City and the towns immediately around it. There are very specific criteria to warrant a famine declaration. The report today says that there needs to be 1 out of 5 households experiencing extreme food shortages. 1 out of 3 kids, children mostly under 5, need to be suffering from acute malnutrition, and at least 2 of every 10,000 deaths would be from outright starvation or underlying causes related to starvation. The United Nations has been very strong in its condemnation of what's happening on the ground in Gaza. They say that the starvation, the famine in place existing right now is man-made and preventable. Have a listen.
It is a famine openly promoted by some Israeli leaders as a weapon of war. It is a famine on all of our watch. Everyone owns this. The Gaza famine is the world's famine.
Israel has rejected the report out of hand. It says it is based on inaccurate information. It calls it unfounded propaganda fed to aid agencies by Hamas. It also says that the report fails to take into account what Israel says have been extensive humanitarian measures in recent weeks. This is all taking place, of course, as Israel says it has begun the early stages of a major ground invasion in Gaza City, in addition to the aerial campaign already underway there and throughout the rest of the Gaza Strip. They say they are going to root out the remnants of Hamas. They also say that they'll be moving hundreds of thousands of Palestinians out of Gaza City as that full-scale invasion grows closer. Margaret Evans, CBC News, Jerusalem.
Well, St. John's is welcoming thousands of visitors this month for the Canada Games, and many of them are getting screeched in. The tradition welcomes people as honorary Newfoundlanders, but many locals aren't fans. Peter Cowan explains.
Hey, hear ye. Let's bring the Royal Order of Screeches to order.
Visitors from all over the world have packed this St. John's bar for one thing, to become honorary Newfoundlanders.
I need you all to pucker up and give this fish just a little kiss.
Kissing a cod is just one part. You need to eat some traditional food like this bologna, master a Newfoundland tongue twister, and, of course, take a shot of screech.
I want to blow their mind. I want people to say that that was the best cultural experience that I've ever had in my entire life.
The ceremony is celebrating its 50th anniversary. The first screech-in was done at a bar in St. John's in July 1975, a way to bring in tourists. Now it's big business. Each of these screechers are paying more than $40.
We'll rant and we'll roar like true Newfoundlanders.
But some Newfoundlanders cringe at a ceremony built on Newfoundland stereotypes. Sean McCann was an ambassador of Newfoundland culture with the band Great Big Sea. He refuses to screech people in.
We don't need to rely on something that turns our culture into a cartoon. And that's how I've always felt about it, honestly. I mean, I saw it as, a gimmick to sell cheap booze to tourists.
In 1990, then Premier Clyde Wells hated the screech-in so much, he ordered the Provincial Liquor Corporation to destroy the certificates they issued bearing his signature.
There are good screech-ins and there are bad screech-ins. I think a good screech-in is welcoming, which it's supposed to be. Like, it is a rite of passage, tongue-in-cheek rite of passage.
And these newly minted honorary Newfoundlanders felt that welcome.
In this world today, there's, traditions are far and few between, especially in Canada. And I think the screeching ceremony is something really beautiful that needs to be preserved.
And as long as the tourists keep coming, this bar will keep a frozen cod ready for them to kiss. Peter Cowan, CBC News, St. John's.
The television series Downton Abbey is a worldwide phenomenon, and the British show featuring the fictional Crawley family ran for 6 seasons, and the third feature film will be released next month. But you don't have to wait to enjoy the fabulous Edwardian era. 267 lots from the show are being auctioned off. And Crystal Gomansing got a very special tour of some of the most iconic pieces.
Do you want to sit inside?
I do want to sit inside.
Shall we hop inside?
Yes.
Let's go in.
Rebecca Anthony helped curate Bonham's exhibit and the online auction.
When we installed the car into Bonham's, I suddenly was like, the auction is here. Downton has arrived.
It's just lovely, to just cast yourself away, into a different era.
I think, we always expected there to be an American audience, but the breadth of the viewers has surpassed what we expected. There's bidding all around the world.
I just love those dresses and the car. I'm visiting from Australia. I've spent about an hour here already.
Fans of Downton Abbey relish seeing the costumes of their favourite characters.
There's definitely an amazing bond between the actors and the costume designers. Anna Robbins was the costume designer for seasons 5, 6 and the films. Maggie Smith actually called Anna to say a thanks about the costume because...
Oh, this particular
Exactly, this particular dress, because at her age she doesn't often feel beautiful, and she did in that dress.
So you don't even really need to be a fan of the show or the movies to know this piece.
This is the iconic bell wall.
Now, big question, does it work?
It does work, so we can ring one of the bells up here. It's been a wonderful piece to have on the view and much admired by all of the fans.
Bids on the bell wall have already surpassed the suggested price tag. The auction closes September 16th. Crystal Gomansing, CBC News, London.
A PEI nonprofit that supports people with intellectual disabilities has added new multisensory gadgets to their toolbox. The gadgets are helping with learning, communicating, and regulating emotions. The CBC's Sheehan Desjardins stopped in to see what the new clients think about the new additions.
So Trempoy works with people with intellectual disabilities, and our mission is to give folks opportunities to improve to their fullest potential.
There's certain people who cannot use those controllers, so we use the palm of your hand.
We really try hard to provide folks with an opportunity to learn new things and grow, and also just expand their horizons in terms of how they view the world around them. And so we knew that there was technology out there that potentially could do that.
So this here is like the real experience, and I really like it because you get the real feel for it, kind of. Because I've always wanted to know what it felt like when a car was coming at you in real life.
I think our clients, want to be able to, have, sort of opportunities, especially linking with equipment. They're fascinated by equipment, and that world has opened up to our clients that they didn't have before.
You're very fast at making the pattern.
We got a chance to show you a LightBright piece of equipment that allows us to do a lot of different patterning.
In that same room, there's kind of a projector that went on the table.
There is.
What's
it
that?
is the Abbey Vista. It's from the UK, and probably one of our favorite pieces of new equipment that's come in.
There you go.
Got a goal.
Yeah.
Okay.
In addition to that, we got a sensory cart, and on the sensory cart is a tube that has water loaded into it. We're able to change the color and the bubbles that are going up and down the tube. For the gal that you watched today, she enjoyed getting the tube bubbles to kind of go up and stop.
There's a dog phone beside me. There's water. Now I'm on a golf course.
Our clientele will probably not travel to faraway places and have the opportunities that maybe some of us may have, but that doesn't mean they don't get to go. And especially on some of this equipment, that has been brought to them. They get to go and visit in these places, and we can 3D so many opportunities of space, of giving them aspects of the world that I don't think they would have had aspect before. So to me, that is huge.
Canada's main stock index gained more than 270 points today after Ottawa removed some of its retaliatory tariffs on U.S. goods. Here's a look at how the markets did as we hit the break.
This weather update is brought to you by Access Wellness Nova Scotia. Book your appointment today for free, confidential mental wellness support.
Jay's back with one last look at the weather, and it sounds like we can say goodbye to Aaron.
Yeah, so long, good riddance. Wouldn't have minded some rain, but when we're talking about a hurricane, it's not just rain. If you're getting the rain, you're getting the wind. In this case, we're looking at hurricane force winds over 200 kilometers from the storm center, 700 plus kilometers from the storm center, those tropical storm force winds. If this was tracking closer, this would have been a maritime-wide event. The rain would have been nice, but that wind would have been something. So I'm happy to say this one tracked to the south. We'll continue to see those conditions, those coastal conditions improving this evening and overnight. Still exercise caution until we do. Much quieter day ahead tomorrow, mainly sunny. A ridge of high pressure building into our south. That will see that wind fairly calm for your Saturday. Temperatures warm, not too muggy. It's as we get into Sunday, though, that we do have that approaching cold front, and that wind from the southwest will be increasing. Still very sunny, still no rain, but that brisk south to southwest wind later in the day on Sunday could be a problem in terms of that fire risk. As we look to your day planner forecast for the HRM tomorrow, mainly sunny to start the day with a light northwesterly wind. That wind could be variable, being so light at times through the day. It does eventually become westerly towards the noon hour, and then we start to see that southwest to southerly wind picking up later in the day. Not too blustery for your Saturday, but through the day on Sunday, that wind will pick up further ahead of that approaching cold front. The strong wind, not welcome with the fire risk and the elevated fire risk and the fire situation, but the rain that comes, even though it might not be a lot for everyone, as we get into Monday from that front, will at least be a welcome change.
Yes, it's certainly something. All right, Thank you for that, Jay. One of the biggest sailing events in the world is unfurling in Amsterdam this week. The 5-day festival is expected to draw more than 2 million visitors to the Dutch capital. Several historic ships could be seen jostling for space with thousands of boats in the crowded waters. The maritime event hosts vessels from all over the world. This year's gathering coincides with Amsterdam's 750th anniversary. Well, that's it for us tonight. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.